Billiken fans, welcome back. It's Zach Miller.
And Peter Hale.
It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, of course, thank you all so much for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're a returning listener or you're a new listener, I know this episode could, gather a new audience with the Billikens making the tournament. So if you're brand new here, welcome. Thanks for joining us, and hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube or subscribe on your favorite audio platform. Billiken fans, it is officially March. The bracket is out. It's time to sit on your couch and watch basketball at lengths of time which are not recommended by 4 out of 5 doctors. And what you really need while you're just in the couch, just chilling, is a great jar of salsa. And our friends over at Two Men in a Garden can provide that for you. Head over to the local grocery store, put it on your list. If you're out of town, you can head over to twomeninagarden.com. You can use the QR code down below on YouTube as well. Head over to that website, enter MMP at checkout to get free shipping. They are the St. Louis Salsa Pickle Company, bringing you everything from mild to screaming hot, sugar-free, hot mango. They've got pickles from classic dill to smoky barbecue. Visit them online, twomeninagarden.com. Shop your favorite flavors and follow them on social media at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter. Pete, let's talk about this week in Billiken basketball. There were some good things. There were some bad things. And holy shit, were there a ton of what in God's name is going on here?
Yeah, Zach, we have no shortage of things to talk about this week. It's going to be a wild ride, I got to tell you. On the bad side of things, or from the good, the Billikens are back in the NCAA tournament. Despite everything that happened on Saturday, the Billikens are trending towards midseason form, it seems. And then Josh Schertz receives a long-term extension. On the bad side of things, the the French tip, if you will, I think that's what some are trying to call it, ended the Billikens' bid for an A10 championship. We're going to talk about it. And what in God's name is happening here? The officiating in that Dayton game, Pete, and the color commentary. It was outrageous from one to the other. I couldn't believe what I was watching. You, luckily enough, only had to deal with one of those things. So I'm extremely jealous of you, but I think we need to just get right into it, Pete. Yeah, Zach, I think we do. And Zach, I'm lucky that I didn't have to hear the announcers that you guys had to deal with. But I got to say, in the arena, I don't know. It's almost like the officiating was hitting me harder, like seeing it in person, not having the benefit of replays, but at the same time, just kind of seeing what was happening and just feeling like helpless, right? There was just nothing you could do.
It was one of those where you just kind of like, you sit back and you're just like, all right, that's how it's going to be. But yeah, I think we get right into it. And if we learned anything from that Dayton game, rules don't apply. We don't have to follow any sort of structure. So we're just going to whip around this week in a way that seems coherent. But we're going to start with Josh Schertz signing a long-term extension to be the Billikens head coach. Pete, according to sources, and I don't know who because I don't have it right in front of me and we're just winging this segment, is that Josh Schertz has signed a new deal with the Billikens. I believe the word was 6 years, around $20 million.
Yep. That's the report. Now that can't necessarily be confirmed, and SLU will probably never confirm nor deny that, but that puts him at about 3.3 a year, Zach, which is a nice little raise, but more importantly to me, it kind of puts him out of reach for other programs for a few years, right?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. And even if he is within reach, um, that's a big chunk of change coming
It's
to
a lot
St.
of money.
Louis.
It's a lot of
That's
money.
a
Yep.
lot of money. So I'm fine with it. I think he's got this program going in the right direction. Am I nervous for a post Robbie Avila, Josh Schertz? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. I like what Jack Kerr brings, and I'm very excited for that. But yeah, I think this is a good move. Kudos to everyone who made it happen. And Pete, do I get into our deal that I made?
Go ahead, Zach.
Did you get a chance to pass along my message this weekend?
I did not, and I apologize. He did. So Chris May, our athletic director, who did an excellent job in securing this extension. I guess, credit where credit is due.
Yes.
He did walk right by me at one point in I guess it was the Saturday pregame reception at the bar across the street, and
you balked.
So I was sitting down at a table, and he was walking around the edge of the table to go, because someone had called him over who wanted to say hi. So he walked by me. We may have briefly made eye contact, but I don't know if he even registered. Walked right by me to talk to this person. I wasn't going to stop him because I saw what was happening, and I hate to be the person who like cuts into someone's time when they're.
That would have been a hell of a like a quick, hey, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just like as he's slipping next to me, it threw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the task?
I think I was tasked with telling him Zach Miller says great job or congratulations or
it was I gave you free reign to work within the great job congratulations parameters.
I was hoping I would have another chance to see him to get just 5 seconds with him. But unfortunately, that did not come to fruition.
Yes.
But we're putting it out here, Zach. What we're saying now is being recorded. And, maybe the word will filter up to him one way or another. Yes. But
he's
honestly,
listening.
Chris May, great job. Congratulations.
Great job. Yes.
Huge, outstanding news for us.
This is, I mean, look, it is it accomplishes the goal that Chris May was brought in here to accomplish. I think, right? Like, no, I don't know if he was even brought in to accomplish that goal. His goal was to keep Majerus here as long as possible. And unfortunately, Chris May can't play God. But I guess to steward the program and it's taken a few too many years for my liking. But again, congratulations to Chris May. A job well done. This is what is expected from Billiken fans, in my opinion. We got our guy.
It's awesome. It's so great too, because with every single power conference job that opened up, people were throwing his name out there, and it doesn't mean. No. So it did, we had to deal with Providence fans and Cincinnati fans and all the others.
So I will forgive Chris May for many things, for how tall I got to walk that day online.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable, to give a proverbial middle finger to these absolute bums. Providence, like I said on Twitter, all scumbags end up in Rhode Island. Not all Rhode Islanders are scumbags, but all scumbag. Like there's a magnet.
Roads lead to Rhode Island. Yeah,
all
scumbag roads.
There is a magnet that attracts scumbags to Rhode Island, like serial killers to Alaska.
Yeah.
But
it is great. It's really, really satisfying.
It is.
It's great news for the program. We get that continuity. What I'm hearing already, having been in the proximity of some of the families, the player families, and just the buzz around the program this weekend, I would count on a pretty high retention rate for everybody who still has eligibility. I would feel pretty confident about the retention ability. So just one more thing, Zach. I don't think Schertz signs this contract extension without a pretty significant bump or a commitment to NIL, right? So I think I would expect a pretty high retention rate based on that. They're going to be able to commit to these players, returners, and honestly, maybe making a little bit of a splash in the open market for a couple spots as well. I think they have the juice to do that. I don't think Schertz is going to commit to 6 more years here on paper unless those commitments are also there. He can now construct the roster the way he wants on an ongoing basis. He's losing, probably the most important player that has ever played for him, a guy that he has an incredible relationship with. And and yet he still signs a contract extension. How many times have you seen coaches after that great big, their best class ever, that's when they dip, right? But not in this case. And so I think there's been a multi-level commitment made to him to NIL, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, and I mean, even not being around the families or whatever, the parties this weekend, like it just you've brought in like the culture around this team. And I know the culture can become a, I don't know, buzzword, but like the type of guys, like just how they've given up a ton of spotlight on a 12 deep team. Like those are the kind of guys that are like that believe in this to the point of they're not necessarily driven by what's the next step I'm going to take. Right. So right. I totally, I could see this team just completely staying together that has maybe a Cam Hudson moves on. I don't think Jax Kerr moves on. I just think he's the heir apparent. Right now, I don't know what Kalu Anya does. I could see him moving on.
I honestly, I haven't heard any word at all about people being unhappy.
Yeah,
I've heard several very specific, and we can get into the roster stuff, after the season ends and everything.
Yeah.
Hopefully a few more weeks.
A couple months, like a month or so, you think?
But I really think we should expect quite a few, if just about everybody returning pretty close to it. Anyway, that's barring something unforeseen. Yeah. I kind of think that's what we're looking at here, and if not, we're going to have quite an NIL commitment either way.
Yes.
So he'll be able to put together a strong roster again, regardless.
Bottom line is there aren't mass exoduses from great teams.
Right. That's right.
Pete, your St. Louis University Billikens are back in the NCAA tournament for the first time in 6 years. They will be heading to Buffalo, New York to take on 8 seed Georgia on Thursday at 8:45 p.m. Central Time.
Yeah, 9:45 local time.
Yes, that is quite. That's an interesting time.
Yeah, it's the time now has me intrigued, Zach, because that's a 6.5 hour drive from here.
No,
and I'm just saying, if I were to leave work before 3, I could get to that game. So yeah, thinking about it, I'm thinking thoughts here, Zach. But the game time aside, what do you think about the draw as a 9 seed? I was actually feeling like anybody who asked me in Pittsburgh this weekend where I thought we'd be, 9 seed was always my answer. And it seemed like there were a lot of people who were a little more nervous who thought we might be a 10 or 11.
It's interesting. I mean, like, I think people wanted to be a 10. I think they wanted to get on that St. Louis line.
Yep.
And can you imagine either SLU winning the tournament, grabbing a 7 seed in St. Louis,
mm-hmm.
either playing Missouri or having Missouri and St. Louis in two separate games.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be immediately the most expensive ticket on the secondary market of all time for the first round?
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there have been other ones. Anywhere there's a 1 seed playing close to home, you're going to have a lot of demand. So who knows? But it would have been a blast. It would have been a blast because it would have been just madness down there. But unfortunately, that St. Louis 10 seed went to Mizzou, Zach. When we saw the overall listing of seeds, SLU was number 35, Mizzou was number 39. So that put them on the 10 line and us on the 9. I don't know if a loss to George Washington would have dropped us far enough to go down to a 10. And even then, don't know where Mizzou would have been. So, I don't know what the overall ripple effect would have been, but it is kind of a shame that I would be pretty upset if I were a Miami, Florida fan as that 7. And I had to play
Has
Mizzou.
anyone checked their message board?
Had to play Mizzou in St. Louis is kind of unfortunate.
So there are 2 7-10 matchups in St. Louis.
Yeah, what was the other one?
Santa Clara and Kentucky.
That's a good point. So like that could have one of those could have been us maybe playing Kentucky. Yeah,
I would have much rather traded Santa Clara for Kentucky.
Yeah.
Or traded for Santa Clara's spot and given them that 8-9. If they wanted the 9, whatever. It's a tough draw location wise for Billiken fans. I know you mentioned your desire or your thought process, but man, I knew as soon as it hit, I was like, there's no way I can make that.
The people who started looking have said flights are really expensive. Hotels are really expensive, and it's just it's not going to be an easy site to make for us. Unfortunately, it just isn't. Georgia, I'm guessing flights from Atlanta are going to be cheaper than they are from St. Louis. There's nothing direct from Cincinnati up there. It would take me longer to fly than to drive because every flight I found is like 5.5 hours with a layover. I can't go straight to Buffalo. I need a layover. And if the flight's going to be 5.5 hours and the drive 6.5 hours, check-in time at the airport already has me over 6.5 hours to get there. So it would be shorter to drive anyway. It's not the easiest site for SLU fans. Unfortunately, it's not the easiest part of the bracket to be in either, because if you're an 8 or a 9, you win, you get the number 1 seed. And here that's Dusty May's Michigan team, Zach, which I think is a pretty tall order. And for a big chunk of the season, they looked like the best team in the country for a big chunk of this season, I think.
So did we.
We were up there. The intrigue there is that Dusty May and Josh Schertz are very good friends. That would be a fun second round matchup for that reason. But maybe we should talk about Georgia first, Zach. Have you seen them play at all this season?
Yeah, I've watched every single game.
Yeah, I knew you're a big Bulldog fan.
I'm told these two teams are a mirror image of each other.
So some people have said that, and
it's like that episode of Recess where they go play kickball at the other school, and it's just bizarro world versions of them. It's an awesome episode.
You love nothing more than cultural references that I have no reference for myself.
I know, it's my favorite part of this show.
The things where they're alike is like, this is a team that scores almost 90 points a game, which is fifth in the country, 89.8 points a game. Which means they play fast. They take a lot of shots. 4th in the country in field goal attempts. 7th in makes. They're top. They're 64th in field goal percentage. They're 35th from 2. They're 182nd from 3. So not as efficient from 3, but they attempt a lot of shots. They play super fast. They are very, very, very athletic. 2nd in the nation in blocks, 35th in steals. They're sloppy defensively, but they want to speed you up. They want to, coax you into bad shots. They want to create turnovers.
I don't like this. I don't like the way you're talking about this game.
They have 6 guys who were top 100 recruits out of high school, and that does not include their number 1 and number 3 scorers. So which is probably because of their size, honestly. Jeremiah Wilkinson's 6'1" sophomore guard. He transferred from Cal, and he's scoring 17 points a game. Marcus Melender is a junior 5'11" guard. He's the point guard. He was also not a top 100 recruit, but he's small, right? So that's kind of why. But he's averaging 12 points, 4 assists. And then they've got, Blue Kane, junior shooting guard, good size, really good player, averaging 13 and 5. Cannon Catchings at forward. He's 6'9", he's skinny, but he's really athletic. He was a top 40 recruit out of high school. Samto Cyril, out of Nigeria, 6'11", 260. Really like a freak athlete, is going to be a really, like, if you think Castro presents a challenge for Robbie Avila, I think it might be, as dramatic or more dramatic. I don't know if he's as good a basketball player in all of the ways Castro is, but athletically, as a sophomore with his size, he's really a load to deal with. So that's a tough lineup, Zach. They are on the younger side, not the best defensive team. I would like to think we can get good looks against this team, but I think I saw that the over-under is like 170.5. So I think everybody is counting on just an offensive, an offensive shootout here. Yeah. So this could actually be, it's the late game, right? It's 9:45.
It's going to keep everybody awake.
Eastern on Thursday. And
shot of Mountain Dew.
I think it's on the main network, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's on CBS. So this could really be, yeah. So this is one of the big kind of, it's going to be the fun late night game, or one of them certainly. I'm really kind of, it's a fun matchup. I think Gonzaga, Houston are playing their games at the same time. Illinois, Penn. Probably none of those games will be super close. So ours has the potential to be the most fun game at the time, that it's going on.
Now I'm doing the math about driving
to Buffalo.
Well, I've been on a bus to Syracuse.
A lot
and
of good
Rochester,
stories start that way.
14 hours. It was
Western
insane.
New York. It's it's going to be, I just think it's going to be a fun game. It's an interesting game. I hope we have good Avila. I hope we have good Amari and Kellen. I think they're big difference makers. We'll see how their athleticism stacks up against this team of guys who are more highly rated than them coming out of high school. Really, really intriguing matchup here. It's also fun too. My sister-in-law, Rosie, shout out Rosie, went to Georgia. She's a big, big football fan. Not as much basketball, but it's fun that, my brother went to SLU. She went to Georgia. So that's going to be a little tension in the household on Thursday night. So I don't know, Zach. I think looking around the bracket, I think this is not the worst draw. You had Villanova, Utah State as an 8-9 game. Ohio State, TCU was one of them. And then the other one was Clemson, Iowa. So in that grouping of teams, this is probably the most fun matchup on paper. There's not really a limit to what they can do offensively, which scares me. But I think defensively we should have opportunities here.
Yeah, I'm looking down their schedule. Some notables more recently. They lost to Oklahoma 94-78. They lost to number 25 Vanderbilt 88-80. I really don't think they play any defense.
No, they really don't.
Points against in all games 72, 96, 88, 68, 80, 80, 78, 78, 66, 71, 77, 85, 67, 72, 76, 95.
Yeah. Yeah, they
104 to 100 OT game against Auburn. They won.
Yep, 97-94 loss in OT against Clemson.
They beat Missouri 74-72.
They put up 107 on Florida State. They put up 123 on Tennessee Tech, 120 on Morehead State, a 104 on Bellarmine. They actually only beat Xavier by 1. I remember watching that game. That was in their MTE. And Xavier, we didn't know at that time, just not a very good team this season. But yeah, that was a close one.
Do you know what my favorite thing? You know, it's funny. One of my favorite sports documentaries, I think I've mentioned it, is SEC Storied about the '06 Georgia Bulldogs, SEC championship team that won 4 games in 3 days because of the tornado that hit the Georgia Dome.
Oh yeah, that's right. The tornado.
Yeah. Also, I think I want to say Bliss is the Bliss from Baylor. I think it's like his son or something was on that team.
Oh
Bulldogs. Wow. Dave Bliss. I don't remember.
Dave Bliss. Yeah.
Dave Bliss was his name. His son was a player was. I don't know. It may be no relation. I don't know. But yeah, it's a great one if you have ESPN Plus.
Yeah, Georgia only had 1 loss in non-conference play. And
Sounds familiar.
That was the overtime loss to Clemson, which is also I think an 8 seed, so a pretty similar level team.
This is hilarious.
They went
because our only loss is to 10 seed Santa Clara in the non-conference. It's just Stanford. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But we beat Santa Clara by 1.
Never mind. I'm sorry.
So there you go. I mean, so it was a really close game.
I screwed up.
And they went 10-8 in SEC play. You know, obviously a tough conference. I don't think the conference is as good as it has been or as people thought it would be. Lost to Florida twice. I know you kind of went through some of those. It seems like, lately they lost to Ole Miss in the conference tournament in the first round. So they made an early exit there, but they were coming off wins over Mississippi State, Alabama, and South Carolina to finish the regular season. I don't know, Zach. It seems like a team that their offense is going to keep them competitive in every game, but their defense is probably going to keep games closer than they need to be, right?
And I think that our team offense is going to keep us in games most nights, and our defense most nights can also win us games. It'll be interesting to see how SLU attacks us. I feel like they're going to have to sub early and often. I feel like that. I mean, it's just or either platoon. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is going to be. I'm nervous that they're faster than us.
They're
better.
Very fast.
Yeah. So
they had a stretch of the season where they lost 5 out of 6 games. Texas, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Florida, and Oklahoma, and the only one they won in there was LSU. And then when you look at their after that, they flipped it. So they won 5 of 6 regular season games to finish the season before losing to Ole Miss. So it's hard to say what the trends are right now because they were on a pretty cold snap through late January and early February and then turned it around and then just belly flopped in the conference tournament. So a little bit hard to say.
I'm going to go back and watch that Ole Miss game tonight.
Yeah. I want to as well, but I don't know. I mean, we haven't had a whole lot of time to look into them, right? It was all just sort of announced, and
it's how that happens. Weird.
It's how it happens.
I'm excited, man. Hope springs eternal, and the timing works out for the game as far as it's not during the workday.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. I'm ready for this, man. I'm ready for this.
Yeah, I am too. I'm going to start looking at Buffalo hotels and see if if it's possible.
Oh my God, I hate you.
Possible.
I hate you. If anybody would like to sponsor my trip to Buffalo or our trip to Buffalo, give us a ring.
It's going to be an expensive trip, no matter where you're coming from what I'm seeing so far.
I'm upset I didn't get included in the picture on SLUBillikens.com of the announcement. By the way, we got to talk about them announcing Missouri to St. Louis.
Why?
Oh my God! In that arena, it was like, oh Oh my God.
Yeah, all the SLU fans. Yeah.
Oh.
The players were kind of like all on edge. They were like, "Is this us? Is this us?" And then they were like, "Oh yeah, yeah." That was
It
pretty
was like
interesting.
the worst possible thing that could have happened in that moment.
Yeah,
It really
I know.
was. There was like 5 people in the building that did fins up when they called LIU.
Yeah, that's been fun.
I'm excited, man. It's weird, right? It's weird to go on this ride because this Billiken basketball team has taught us, like Dayton was the first game in a long time that the Billikens had played that was just back and forth. Like Billiken back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Up until that point, you had a bunch of blowouts. You had a bunch of slow starts with comebacks, but we didn't have any that were like, trading threes, and or trading buckets and playing good defense. And like, I don't know, like it's just odd. It was odd watching that Dayton game. That Dayton game was hard to like. It was hard to like. It was living and dying with every play. And again, like I was saying earlier, or I don't know how we're going to do this in order, what order this is going in. So like you're going to hear later in the episode us find out that the Billikens are playing at 8:45, but live. But like it's just interesting to me that
That's a good point,
I had been
actually.
conditioned to expect the Billikens to just like take a punch directly to the face and then kind of collapse for 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. That it was really a lot more truly back and forth. We went up 11 at one point in the second half. I think the most they led by was 5 or 6. But yeah, for the most part, it was a really tight back and forth game. And yeah, we have not seen much of that this season because I'm thinking of even like the first George Washington
Stanford
game. Stanford, yes, but that was one where we looked like we were running away with it and then let them back in at the end. The George Washington game, they were up like 15 at halftime,
San
and then we
Francisco.
stormed back. I don't think so. Anyway, but that's a good point. It's just that has not been the way that our games have played out at all.
Yeah. Anyway, let's do the damn thing. Let's go shock the world.
Let's do it.
Pete, let's talk about I think this is the most excruciating loss. It's top 3 excruciating losses of
ever?
all time, in any sport, anyone.
Yeah, glad I was there to see it in person, Zach.
You have now gone through 2 excruciating experiences watching the Billikens play Dayton.
I sure have. It's quite a bit of trauma that they've put me through playing this Dayton team, who I hate more than anything in the world.
Honestly, they should probably reimburse you with a trip to Buffalo.
They owe me. They really owe me. But no, Zach. I think we probably just have to start at the end, right? Because what happens here is there's a tip in to put Dayton up 1 point. Right at the very end, initially 0.3, they made it 0.6 left on the clock.
If you thought the rolling blackouts in Pittsburgh weren't A10 enough, this ending was the most A10 ending that the A10 has ever A10'd.
It was something, and it was on the heels of a game that was more poorly officiated than maybe I've ever seen, and that's saying something. Like
you say poorly. I think they did a great job. They accomplished their goal.
The one thing, the inadvertent whistle on Dayton's breakaway had their fans going absolutely bonkers.
And my take on that now, right?
Have you think that was that a false flag? No, I have not.
No, I think my take on that is Jordan Durkak goes headlong into Ishan Sharma, fouls him.
Yes.
No foul is called.
Correct.
In the moment. The turnover happens, and my take is the ref realized that he thought Sharma was going to play through that foul, so he was going to let it go.
Yeah.
So when he turned it over, then the ref didn't know what to do. Like, he's like, what? I screwed up the call, and he blew his whistle and then had to come up with something and then gave an over and back so that the only thing he could do was save. He probably could have just called the foul on Durkak and thrown hands up and said, sorry, late whistle. That would have been nice. But, I mean, it's funny that even when the Billikens get a makeup call, the Dayton Flyers still get the ball.
Right, that's right. That's right. But in their minds, it should have been a dunk.
Who was it? There's like a Disney Channel show where the little girl. No, I know. No, the little girl is playing a card game, and she goes, "I win," and the guy goes, "Well, what's the card game called?" It's called "I Win."
Yeah,
that's what we play when we play Dayton. Apparently,
yes, yeah,
Dayton
it's
wins.
Very heads I win, tails you lose. So they make this tip-in, Zach, right at the end, and Deshane Montgomery decides to sprint out on the floor to celebrate with his teammates. Slew is going to inbound the ball. There's time left on the clock, and I guess it's Robbie, right, standing on the
McCautry has the ball.
McCautry had the ball. Okay, on the inbound. Okay,
both of them are standing on the end line.
Yeah. So but they don't inbound the ball, and they point to the Dayton player that has run onto the floor.
Yes, and is now humping, like visually humping.
Yeah, like yes,
his teammate Latong.
Right.
It was obscene. It was bad.
Amel Latong is the one who made the tip in. The 7'1" guy. A couple of really, really unfortunate bounces for Slew in the last few seconds on this one, but he runs on the floor. An assistant coach immediately,
a staffer of some sort.
I don't know who it was. Don't care. They're all losers. They're Dayton Flyers. He runs out after Montgomery and is like bear hugging him to get him off of the floor. He's grabbing him, he's trying to pull him off the floor.
And Montgomery doesn't know. Montgomery just thinks he's somebody's on the back of him celebrating.
Right.
It's hilarious.
That's right. Yeah, he thinks I'm the first one in the bench mob, and now here they all are right behind me. Let's go ahead and celebrate this. And meanwhile, Slew is like, we can't do anything. They blow the whistle. They go over. They look like the refs all look at each other confused, like this wasn't in the script. They go over to the monitor to start conferring. They add another 0.3 to turn 0.3 seconds into 0.6, and then just have Slew inbound the ball. And so there was some speculation. Bottom line is this is a technical foul. It's a technical foul when a player enters the court with time left on the clock the way that he did. Everybody knew it. Yeah. If you go back and look at that video, you can see obviously the staffer runs out and grabs him because he knows you can't you get off the floor, you can't do this. The other Dayton players on the floor are not they did their initial little celebration, but then they're trying to set up because they realize there's going to be an inbounds. There's like cheerleaders who are going no, you could see them going, no. And then all Slew players and fans all start making a T, right? Not for timeout. They're all making a T with their hands for a technical foul. That's a technical foul. That's a tech. 4 Slew assistants are all starting meanwhile, Schertz, because there's now an official timeout on the floor.
Yeah. They didn't call the timeout because of anybody.
No.
They stopped the game because he ran on the floor.
They stopped the game and went to the monitor. And
they didn't. The call, the play was blown. The things were blown dead because he ran on the floor, not before he ran on the floor or while he was on the floor.
just coincidentally they ended. They blew the whistle because he ran on the floor, because the ref sees the guy and goes, hey. So
no SLU player called a timeout.
No.
And there was some speculation that SLU coaches may have called a timeout. And if they were calling a timeout, I have no idea. They were not given a timeout.
Well,
because they blew the whistle.
Can you imagine the officials heard a timeout after they didn't hear Schertz's timeout before? Are you freaking kidding me?
So they did not blow the whistle because of a timeout. They blew the whistle because he was on the floor, and then they were going to go over and review the time. So at the end of all of this, SLU has Putz, Tate, like 4 assistants are all out there, like going like, that's a technical foul. This is technical, right? Are we shooting free throws? Like, what's the? And the refs are just like, back up. He goes on the mic, or he didn't go on the mic. They just added. The PA announcer said they added the extra time, and that it was SLU's inbound. No timeout was charged, nothing like that. It was just, that's what happened. And so SLU inbounds the ball. Quentin Jones gives a heave. It was off target, game over. And then Dayton goes nuts, celebrates. But like while the officials are looking at the monitor for time, because here's the weird thing, Zach, and something that I still don't know to this point is like, can you go back and give a like, I guess you're not going back, right? But can you just call a technical really, really late? Because all 3 of them, when it happened, they just kind of stood there and nobody called the tech. They're all just kind of looking at each other, right? So I don't know if you can go to the monitor and say, they went to the monitor against VCU. Now that I'm saying it, I think you're right. That's exactly right. Like every time players leave the bench, they have to go sort it out and go, it's a technical on him, and him, or whatever. I think it's a class B technical. I don't know, whatever the classification is, right? So they have to go over there and sort out who actually did what, so that they can assess fouls. But instead, all they did was the clock, and so Dayton wins the game. And I have not yet seen a satisfying, answer as to why a technical was not assessed.
It's insane. Like, I have nothing else. You hit the net and I had the nail on the head. I really don't. I'm still absolutely livid. You have to make that call. If you don't have the balls to make that call, you don't deserve to be a tournament referee. Right. And I, good Lord, just an awful performance. And like I said in the outset, some might say they had a perfect performance. Look, like I just don't see, what is it? I think the technical is 1 free throw in the ball. So okay. So it doesn't change the game. Not anyway, okay, we send Sharm up there, he makes 1, tie game, going overtime. Okay, everybody's square. I don't think anybody would have been mad with that.
Well, I think Dayton fans would have.
They would have been mad, but they would have had very little to leg to stand on.
That's right. There's just video proof, right? Like we all have the video right there. It's like they're just calling what happened. And yeah, you're right. It would be 1 free throw in this instance plus the ball. And so Schertz said, according to Stu, the officials whistled the play dead after Latong's tip in, while Dayton had, in his words, quote, a player and coach out hugging on the court as SLU was going to take the ball out of bounds. He was told it couldn't be reviewed.
What do we need to review it? It happened.
But again, that's like saying, like, yeah, if there are players like in VCU and SLU and all the players clear the benches, like, can you not review that? Because you have to go look at video to see who all ran off the bench. Like in a bench clearing brawl, you have to review it.
Does it have to be a fight? Is that
that's how you assess those calls? Yes, is you go review the video.
So is the qualifier that it's a fight? So if So if Slew would have just gone and clocked him in the face,
right?
like
Should we have had a should we have? Well, I guess it would have offset.
they get out.
Right.
Yeah. Shit.
So somebody else asked, should we have just inbounded the ball to Montgomery? Right, like as he's running
Just
out
hit him
there,
with it.
do you just throw the ball on the court, hit him with it, and go, wait a minute? He's like, now that would be the smartest. If that had worked out like it should have, that would have been the smartest play.
And I don't want to be mean.
And
I don't want to be mean.
I don't think anybody would.
I don't want to be mean, but McCautry is the last person on my list.
Well, yeah, but I mean, even if it's Avila, I don't think anybody would have the wherewithal.
Avila's too big. See, Avila is too busy arguing with the ref.
Well, because of the risk of them not getting the call right? And you don't have the call anymore.
And that sucks. Like, we have review to get things right and call it by the books. And I think this goes back to that Dayton review in Dayton, where they didn't call it by the book.
Oh, right.
And it's just, if we're going to have different criteria and we don't know, somebody said that they don't think they really even know what they could or could not review in that situation. I think we need a rule book at every. I think every arena needs a rule. I think, look, and yes, I completely understand everyone talking about, one call doesn't make up for, or like, one call. What does one call matter when they had 18 turnovers in this one? But again, the game has to be played fairly and adjudicated fairly.
But I also don't like that argument, because it's like, well, yeah, you blow a call in the first 3 minutes of a game, and yeah, there's like a butterfly effect, and if it winds up being a close game, but there's all the plays after it. Here, there's no plays after it. Like it was the last play of the game. So the outcome of the game hinged on them not making the call. So screw that argument. Whoever's making that. Yeah. If we don't turn it over 18 times, of course we win the game. Duh. Like, there's a lot of other things that happen in the game that could have gone differently or should have gone differently that would have tilted the game in our favor. But when the very last play of the game is a non-call that should have been a call, it's a fact. It's the deciding factor. Period.
And I want to get your take on the inbound play, because this is the play that I think most people will point to and say, well, there's the game. There, you don't do that, you win the game. So I have a question on what you think happened there. I'll give my guess, and then we'll talk about the officiating situation that happened on that one. That was insane. So what I think Slew thought that Dayton was going to deny the ball. They were going to deny the inbound pass. Dayton sat back and was just ready and prepared to trap, and they weren't gonna. And so they were running that long pass play because they thought that they were gonna overplay the inbounds pass or whatever, and they didn't. And Robbie could have just dumped it into Trey Green there. He really could have. I don't even understand why Trey Green ran away. He was open to get the ball.
Right.
And I think that's inexperience. And this team is majorly inexperienced, which is incredible to think about.
So they had a few issues inbounding the ball in the game. That wasn't the first. I think that was the third time they had struggled to get the ball in. So it was kind of an awkward play. And I think I buy your theory. I wish he would have just dumped it to Green. I don't know why he didn't. I don't know why he didn't call a timeout either. Because we did have one timeout, and I think, I don't know if I haven't heard him comment whether he thought there was a timeout or not. But that gets to your other point, Zach, is that the ref did not give Schertz an out of bounds, a timeout on the out of bounds play. When Schertz, according to Stu again, he told the media
according
afterwards.
To Schertz,
Right. So before that inbound play, he was told by an official he had him covered if he wanted a timeout. And Schertz was yelling for a timeout at the count of 3, but the official had moved out of range to hear him. So Schertz is calling
Out
for
of
a
range
timeout.
to hear him.
I mean,
mean,
that's if you're the third ref, the one who's farther back at that point, that's your job, right? It's not really like you have to be able to hear that. You have to be able to grant the timeout that he's calling for. So very, very frustrating that wound up being a turnover. At that point, we were up. I think that was like 29 seconds left, if I remember correctly.
And I think I noted at that point that it was interesting that the Billikens fouled, had that foul early in the, like, that eliminated the shot clock, basically turned the shot clock off or reset it or whatever. And I noted that, like, oh, this turns into a free throw contest because of that foul, because we're going to get it in and then be fouled because, we're up and the shot clock's turned off. That obviously did not happen. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Right. No, I mean, so yeah, it's a really frustrating outcome on that play.
Yeah.
And Dayton converts, right? Like Dayton takes advantage of it. It wasn't a wasted play for them. I'm scrolling down to this part of the, so this was at,
they got the ball. Was it a 3-pointer at this point? That on the next play, was it Connor's 3-pointer? Then Robbie comes down and nails the 3.
Yeah, turnover by Robbie. Yeah, so it was 26 seconds. I said 29 seconds. It was 26 seconds. Yeah, so they missed a layup.
Okay.
And then got the offensive rebound, and then Jacob Connor hits the 3 from the.
So that was the block.
Correct.
No. Yeah, no. No.
Javon,
McContry's block was at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
No. This was the one. This was the one, right?
I don't know. Either way, absolutely bonkers ending to the game.
So Connor makes that 3. Slew goes down 6 seconds later. Or no, I'm sorry. So they go down. It's the 3. That was at 11 seconds.
Yes.
8 seconds later, 3 seconds left. Robbie Avila makes a 3 to go up 1. They get it down to the other end, miss the layup, and then Latong tips it in.
Yes.
With 0.3 on the clock. Should have been 0.6. Yeah. And that's when we got to all the other stuff. So it was a wild back and forth there.
Yes.
It was insane. Really bad bounces for Slew. I know a lot of people said it's really unlucky that McCottry's block, which was, by the way, he skied for that.
That was I want this terribly.
He did everything in his physical ability to block that layup. Fantastic block. I'm really disappointed. Like a lot of people said, oh, it's unlucky that it bounced to them. If you're a Slew player, you have to recognize that his only play right there is to block that shot off the glass. Nobody anticipated because and if you know what he's doing, you know where to go. Like there's only one spot on the floor where that ball is going. And nobody ran to that spot. And so that to me is like, it's kind of the same thing when they struggle with defensive rebounding. That I just don't think they really anticipate those well at all.
Not well.
And it was true on this block too. And you can say what you will about like it was pure chaos at the end. So I understand somebody not.
Deion Brown is the only one that would get that rebound.
Yeah. So anyway, unfortunate couple of bounces there. They missed the 3-pointer, got the offensive rebound. I mean, it was just a sequence of crazy, unlucky things that happened, which is a real shame because I think overall in this game, the defense was really, really good.
I thought the foul disparity, I know people say like Dayton's good at drawing fouls. I mean, they weren't in the game at Slew. The two elite, there were 2 illegal screen calls, one on a ghost screen.
Crazy.
And at one point, Slew had like 4 or 5 fouls with 2 offensive. Dayton had 0 fouls.
Correct.
That's crazy.
The foul disparity in the first 12 minutes of both halves was insane. Like in the first half, it took them, I think, almost a full 10 minutes to get their first foul. And then they were on 2 fouls for a really long time. It was insane, Zach. And
then they called like 3 that didn't matter in the first like that's 2 exactly minutes right. On Dayton.
The makeup calls
the second half,
inconsequential, right? It didn't put us on the free throw. Yeah, it was insane. And then like the moving screen thing not really being called both ways was the frustrating thing. Like watching Dirk Hack
hooked on
elbow people, like just using his arms. Bennett complete 2-hand hugging Trey Green and Deion Brown at times, and all everybody around me is like, he's hugging him like he's got 2 hands on a moving player. He's if you're gonna call Sharma for like a tap at one end, you got to call a 2-handed bear hug at the other. I genuinely would like to hear an explanation of why that is not being called when Dayton has 2 arms around a SLU player who's moving around the perimeter. I truly do not understand why that's not called. And then you call these like ticky-tack moving screens. Really confusing stuff to see. People were losing it in the crowd. Around us. You can probably hear. You can hear my voice is not in great shape, and that's why is because we were just screaming the whole game.
How likely would I have been thrown out of that game?
100%. You would not have. The PPG Paints Arena security would have been busy with you, Zach.
Were they chill or no?
Yeah, they were, because like they're used to 20,000 people in there for a hockey game. And
8:45 p.m.
Oh, we have a game time?
That's amazing. That is awesome.
That's a late game.
That is awesome.
Wow, I could almost drive up there and not really miss more than a couple hours of work.
You son of a... Don't you dare do that to me.
Thinking about it. Anyway, we'll get to that soon. But anyway.
It's perfect for me, by the way.
What else do we have to cover about how the officials?
Fixed is the right word here. Like, I don't want to be. I look. Ensuring a multi-bid league for Bernie. Yeah, that's what happened here.
Yeah.
Look at the hooking and holding. Anytime a guard would get to their starting position on the offensive end, Dayton was in there grabbing like 2 hands, like through their arms. Like it was insane. There was somebody on Billikens.com brought this up, and I was glad they posted it. Dirk Hack was he flopped out of bounds on he drew the foul. Dirk Hack was barely touched. He flopped out of bounds on a rebound of Deion Brown's layup right before half.
Yep.
And right before that, he shoved Brown in the back, creating when Deion Brown was going for a layup on a fast break. Then you had the foul. This gets into the we need to get into the forget the officiating. The officiating was awful. It was completely fixed. What are you gonna do? But I need to talk about the announcing situation in this game before we move on.
And I have no insight to this whatsoever.
I've never
I heard it was bad.
Chris Walker, by the way, I don't know. I get him mixed up with CeeLo Green and Chris Lowry, because he looks like CeeLo Green. Anyway, basically, he was bad the whole game.
Mm-hmm.
He was Kellen Thames made a swipe down, like blocked the ball down low, stripped, got the ball on the ground. The one where he got the timeout late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that one? He stripped and got on the floor, called the timeout. Chris Walker went on for 5 to 10 minutes of airtime, like about how awful that was, a missed call, that Thames should have been called for a foul. That he got to a point where he almost sounded like Kellen Thames was dirty. Like it sounded like he was at a grind, an axe to grind with Kelly Thames. Like that's how passionate he got about this call.
I can't even think of something that Thames did that was worthy of that, like any commentary.
It was like, oh yeah, he got him on the arm. That's a terrible call. Like, yeah, he knows he got him. Like, what? Like, what do you on about? Like, dude had money on Dayton.
Wow. Yeah. I mean,
he was. That was the McCautry. So McCautry sidestepped a guy going in for a layup, and he fell. And CeeLo Green was like, "Oh, McCautry tripped him there. I can't believe that's a no call." And then the next time down, or whatever, I don't know. There was a play where Dayton, had the same thing happen, and he was just like, that's a great call. Like this dude was like, I should have prepared more notes for this because I thought I could shoot straight from the hip, but it was so bad.
Yeah,
genuinely made me not want to watch the second semifinal.
Man, it's dude.
There were people outside of our periphery online that were in our mentions replying. People that don't. That's when you know it's bad.
Right, when people you don't know are like, "What's going on here?"
It was bizarre.
I cannot stand when national announcers like heavily favor one team. I hate it. Even when it doesn't involve SLU at all. I'm just like, how can you be that unprofessional?
It made the officiating situation unbelievably just like it exacerbated the whole experience. And I mean, there was a point, he kept obsessing over picking and popping.
Yeah.
Every time he's like, yeah, the pick and pops there. Whenever VCU wants it, pick and pops there, or Dayton wants it, pick and pops there. It's like they never pick and pops. He's still waiting on it, apparently, according to some on social media. Yeah, man. What was the experience like in the arena?
So in the arena was at least they had power, right? Because before the pregame reception, which was at Cafe Fifth across the street from PPG Paints Arena, the power was out. Like we showed up, and the first thing my friend said was, "Where's the giant Billiken? There's supposed to be a giant Billiken outside." And we go in there, and the first thing you see on a sign, it says cash and Venmo only. And we're like, what is going on here? We go in there, it's dark. They have candles on every table. There's a little candle. And then you had the bright light coming in the windows, which are only on the north face of the storefront. It's a 2-level bar, right? There's kind of like a mezzanine, and SLU had that part. That was the upstairs part. Really, really crowded, but really stuffy, not well ventilated. Obviously very limited in terms, like no food because no kitchen. So that was all crazy. SLU did the best they could, but without power, it was not great. So we went over with about 40 minutes till tip. Went over into the arena, sat in section 101, which was behind the SLU bench. And it was a really nice SLU crowd over there. I have to say, though, there were a couple rows behind me. There were 2 rows that were like half filled with VCU fans. VCU fans were getting there a half hour, 45 minutes, even an hour before the SLU game and taking seats in the SLU section, which to me is like insane behavior, to not just wait your turn, right? To just go, we don't play until 3:30 or whenever it was, but we're gonna claim our spot in the 1:00 game. We're gonna take spots away from SLU fans to sit behind what will be our team's bench at the 3:30 game. Just a gigantic, rude, thoughtless, like just these selfish moron VCU fans sitting in our section, and then on the way
go
out,
off, King.
Then on the way out, we're all trying to file out, and VCU fans are filing down the stairs. Once again, let us pass. Get out of our way, and you can have the seats. Just wait 5 minutes for us all to get out of the way.
Well,
you're
can't
welcome
do
to the
that.
seats. We're leaving. We don't want to.
How dare you suggest that, Pete?
And so my friend and I are yelling, get out of our way, like get out of the way. What are you doing? And they're just standing on the stairs, like they don't understand what's going on. And it's like, we can't file out of here if you guys are blocking the stairs. It was nuts. But then, of course, Connor Bailey, who we've had on the show, he was on the steps and he's leaning against the railing. He's like, you know what? So sorry, guys. So sorry. Didn't think it through. I'm in your way. Sorry. The rest of the VCU fans were looking at us like we were nuts because, like, I'm just going, get out of the way. Like, we just lost that horrible game to Dayton, and now
you're in a tough spot. I
have to shove people in VCU.
Well, don't shove people.
I didn't shove anybody, but I'm like, what are you doing?
You don't need to be in a Pittsburgh jail.
Like, just go one section over or wait on the concourse for 5 minutes, and you can have whatever seat you want. You idiots. Yeah. So that was the worst part about the experience. Our section in the PPG arena, you know, like general admission was behind the benches. It was on that side. It's part of the reason for the log jam, whatever you want to call it, traffic jam on the way out, is the railing on the edge of those sections. So it would have been, you know, symmetrical other side too. The railing has no breaks in it because those, like the 4 or 5 sections that are on the sides are like club seating. So that the concourse above the seats was like the club area. So they didn't have like a full concourse open around the whole arena.
Oh God.
But the club concourse is what we would file down from to these sections, which were general admission. So that meant like the line to the bathroom was super long. They had a curtain up along the hallway because they didn't want people filling up the end seats or whatever. So you were like shoving a curtain out of the way to walk by people, you know, who are lined up single file to get in the men's room. Really awkward. So it got really crowded up in that club area because, you know, everybody was up and down at the same time.
Yeah.
And with no breaks in the railing, that's why Connor and the other VCU fans were like leaning up against it because they can't walk over to the other side of it.
And you know what? I think we've come to the point where we figured out that we can give them a little bit of a break because obviously, I think we need to talk about the moron Pittsburgh Penguins owners that make it like that. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like if those are all at the 100s behind the hockey benches are all club seats, like fine, whatever. But like maybe the general admission should not have been, you know.
Yes.
But so the during the game itself, you looked over it looked like Dayton's section may have been a little bit. Like I couldn't quite tell, and we sounded so much louder because I was sitting in the middle of us, right? And they're facing the same direction, so I don't hear their noise. But you know, there was a pretty good delineation between the two fan bases, so not a whole lot.
Were there any fights?
No, I mean there were a lot of idiot Dayton fans who are the worst people in the world, just for the record, yelling at things like on our way out and stuff like that. But I think overall, there was a good job of kind of like limiting interactions between us. And I certainly had no interest in seeing any of those fools, after that game because we were just so angry.
What'd you guys do around town?
Oh man, we did a lot. We did a whole lot.
Yeah.
We had 2 really good meals. An Italian joint on the South Shore. It was crazy. The ride over there, you said rolling blackouts, right? So we already established that the pregame spot was blacked out. This was the night before, Friday night, took an Uber over to the South Shore, little hole in the wall joint in a working class neighborhood in Pittsburgh. Awesome meal, dish osteria, fantastic meal. But like all the stoplights in the neighborhood were out, like just black. It was nuts. But the restaurant had power, and the houses on this block had power, so we got lucky. Friday or Saturday night had a meal at 11. It was great.
PM or AM?
The name of the restaurant was 11.
Oh, okay.
11. Yeah, is the
I'm uncultured. Name. Clearly,
they're like a real who's on first.
Yeah,
but man, we went to a number of bars. Had a really good breakfast one morning at this diner over in the Strip District. Great city. Great. We took the Duquesne Incline up to the top of Mount Washington and got some photos at the top of the observation deck up there
On the bluff.
Really, really beautiful view. Yeah, it's not quite a bluff. It's just like a really, really
I know,
steep
I'm
hill.
who'd you run into? A10 Twitter wise.
A10 Twitter. Oh yeah. I got a shot. Connor Bailey on the way out. It was like not ideal circumstances to
You
see
should
him.
have fought him.
Next time, Connor, we'll mix it up a little bit. George Templeton from VCU, saw him, got to chat at halftime. Good conversation with him. We saw the West Pine Bills guys there. Always good to see them. I didn't see Jack go to. I know he was there, but did not run into him.
He was tweeting like a MFer.
Yeah, and that was the other thing.
I was mad at people that were tweeting so fast because I was delayed.
Oh yeah. That's funny. I haven't been on Twitter since Thursday, so like I've been completely.
Oh, you're laying everything on. That's great. You're putting everything that's come out of our Twitter account.
Literally anything since
Thursday
that has been on Twitter is Zach and not me. But which is true, by the way. But yeah, so like because I was just so busy, like hey, I had a group of buddies there, and we were just hitting as many spots as we could. But yeah, really, Mark. We had dinner with Mark Milton one night, STL tax lawyer who you've seen, sponsors SLU games and stuff. Hung out with Mark a little bit. Who else did we see? We saw, man, it was a really good.
Did you see Johnny?
Didn't see Johnny. Didn't see Sully. I know they're both Pittsburghers. Didn't see them, but saw a number of the like the Billikens.com guys. Billiken Roy. Saw Roy. Saw Steve. Bay Area Billikens. Saw Taj. I met him. So a bunch of those guys, some of the Discord guys like Tony, SLU Tony, met him. Another guy, shout out James, who recognized me on the concourse. He just said James. I don't know any username or anything, but recognized me and said, "Hey, I really love the show." So shout out James. It was great to see him. Man, I know I'm forgetting people too, but it was really great to see all those people in one spot. It was a good overall fan contingent. I think it was a nice showing. The stakes were not as high as they were for Dayton or VCU. But it was a really nice showing for our fans, I think.
Let's roll the tape back a little bit further and talk about some good stuff. And that is the 88-81 win against 8 seed George Washington. It was Friday the 13th. Ooh, scary. It was the quarterfinals. It didn't need to be as close as it was, but it of course was because another bad first half, Peter. And I think it's interesting that we went in this order because I think the Billikens have obviously played so much better as the tournament went on.
Yeah.
But we're going to sit here and talk about it as if it was another bad first half when it was, it happened prior to the Dayton game. We've seen the Billikens come out hot since.
Yeah, and it's crazy, Zach. They went up by as much as 21 over SLU. George Washington did. It was 14 at halftime. And SLU stormed back in the second half to take the lead and eventually win it. 21 points is incredibly the biggest. What you want to pause me right?
Pete, I guess there's nothing else to do but move on to an 88-81 win against 8 seed George Washington. This happened the day before, Friday the 13th. Ooh, scary. And it was the quarterfinal. And it didn't need to be as close as it was. But the Billikens continued their streak to that point of bad first halves.
Yeah, they sure did, Zach. GW went up by as much as 21 over SLU, which was shocking at the time. I mean, we were stunned.
I was just as stunned sitting on my couch.
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was we were all just kind of like looking at each other. Like I thought they would have something, to say in this tournament. So it was 14 at halftime, which honestly, it felt like it could have been worse. For most of the half, we were saying, okay, everybody does that. Get it to within double digits, or
10,
single digits, get it under 10, get it under 10. And then it was like, all right, we'll take 14,
Yes.
It was 21,
yes.
we'll take 14.
Yes, I tweeted out, look, get a stop here and thank your lucky stars. You're going into half only down whatever. I think I said 13 at the time. It ended up being 14.
Yeah.
But the same thing.
Yeah.
And I honestly, this basketball team has changed my perspective on leads. Like, Dayton, I still have trouble. Like that Dayton game, I had trouble with thinking like they've messed with my head in that. Like the Dayton game, I thought at any moment Dayton was gonna just keep making, and we were never gonna make another shot. Because
which Dayton game are you talking about?
This last one.
This one, okay.
Yeah, so like that for that one, that's how this team has broken my brain. Yeah. But with George Washington. You go down 14 at halftime. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's there. It's very easily there. And so I was not uncomfortable, but not comfortable. I was comfortably uncomfortable.
Right.
With where the Billikens were at going into halftime. And I don't know. I thought there was a blueprint from the game before with GW. Yeah. Like we had seen Fordham and the way they covered Castro. So I was like, we've halftime, Josh Schertz. Let's get it.
Yep.
It amounted to the largest comeback in Billiken history. I didn't know that. 21 points. It was 20. Which is also the fewest points scored in a game by any Billiken team.
We've come back from 20-point margins 3 times. The most recent one was actually against St. Joe's in Ford's last year, 2 years ago, which is funny. One of them was a Houston game in 03-04, which I remember. I believe we were down 9. If that's the same game, we were down 9 with 49 seconds left and won. So that was a pretty incredible one. And then there was another one in the 70s. So yeah, this was the biggest comeback ever, which is funny to think about because it just didn't quite feel like that, right? Like you knew it got to 21, but it never felt like it was just gone, right?
Is there a generally accepted point to where it's a comeback? Like to me in this one, like, it doesn't feel like a 21-point comeback. It felt like a 14-point comeback because that was the difference at halftime.
Right. That's right.
Like, does a comeback transcend halves?
I think it does. I would be curious to see how Eric Haslam defines it because he's the one who does the analytically final.
What about clutch time? Can you explain clutch time?
Clutch time is really stupid, gimmicky branding by the
it's the USA puck trail on Fox Hockey.
They think you are an idiot.
To be fair, it is amateur hour. Actually, this is the Sickos NCAA tournament. Next week is amateur hour.
For the Sickos, you do not need to tell us it's clutch time. You don't need to whatever, however you want to brand it. It's dumb. But anyways, Zach, luckily for us, no one blows leads or close games like this GW team. They are
you got very close to a slip there.
That
could have gone sideways.
So I think if you want to look at 3 stretches, and I'll frame it not as GW blowing it, but as stretches of the game where I think SLU really locked in. And one of those was just coming out of halftime. The first 3 minutes of the second half, we got it to within 5. So +9 before the first media timeout. GW kind of they scored after the first 3 minutes, built the lead back up a little bit, but then SLU got it back down to 4 a couple minutes later. Not decisive quite yet, but it at least, set the tone for the half and let them know, like, this is a game. It's not over. And then right around the 10-minute mark, Robbie Avila hit the first of 3 straight 3-pointers. He had all 3 of them. These were followed by a Thames dunk and a McCautry layup that puts SLU up 5. So everybody that I talked to over the rest of that game, after the game, everybody said that was it. Like those 3 3-pointers by Robbie, he won us the game. The other one that I'll give, with 124 left, Green drew a foul, hit both free throws. Avila made a layup. Brown made a pair of free throws. GW missed a few threes in the stretch. They had to foul the rest of the way, and SLU finished 24 of 26 from the free throw line.
Unbelievable.
Won it there.
I could not believe the way both McCautry and Thames shot the ball in this one. They were both so good from like 10 minutes, from 10 minutes left in the first half to the end of the game. And I think even early McCautry was good. McCautry was great in this game.
Yeah, he actually was really good. It's important that they were that good from the free throw line. The team only shot 45.8% from the field, 33% from three. Not terrible percentages on their own, but for this team, it's definitely on the low side. Sharma and Jones had a lot to do with that, unfortunately. They really struggled shooting the ball, going 1 of 6 and 0 for 6 from outside. And I don't really get it, Zach, because they were good looks, but both of those guys just didn't have it. Sharma was missing wide. He was missing short.
Inexperienced.
Yeah.
Look at neither of those guys played last year. Look at Trey Green. Trey Green barely played.
Jones played. Green.
No, sorry, not Jones. I was
Sharma
thinking of
played very little.
I was thinking of Dunlap. I'm sorry, I got Dunlap.
Yeah, so
the very common Dunlap Jones mix up.
Yeah, exactly. Jones played a lot, but for teams that were terrible. I think Jones won 10 games over his first 2 seasons. He just played for terrible, terrible teams. So he doesn't have experience playing with stakes on the line, right?
Correct.
I don't know if that explains their shooting in this game. They just kind of had a rough day shooting the ball. And then inside you have Rafael Castro. And we know how much he affects SLU when they're trying to make layups, right? He was limited to 25 minutes after some foul trouble and fouled out late. So that 4th foul was a big one. I thought that was probably the softest foul on him. It was a really dumb foul on him. Like, he should have just let the layup go. He instead bodied him from behind. And
I really liked how they attacked him getting that second cutter.
Yeah.
Either baseline or 45 or whatever. Anywhere from the top of the arc to like they just had somebody cutting when it was one on Castro. And once you get Castro jumping on one side, then so I thought they attacked him pretty well. As well as they could. And, again, that getting him in foul trouble was super key.
It was. Yep.
And it probably would have exacerbated the rebounding situation had they not gotten Castro in foul trouble, because as was later in the tournament against Dayton, offensive rebounding is a serious problem for this team.
It really is, and it's really frustrating. We already talked about, I don't think they anticipate well.
Well, I guess defensive rebounding is a problem.
The other team's offensive rebounding. Yeah, yes. They gave up 16, right? They gave up 16 to George Washington. The top 6 players in minutes on George Washington all got at least one of them, even the guards. Tyrone Marshall had 6. He finished with 14 points and 13 rebounds overall. I think he had the game of his life. He has the ugliest shot I've seen in a while, and he hit 2 3-pointers. I looked it up. He hits 33%. He hit 2 of 4 in this game. But I can't explain how he even makes 33%. His shot is so ugly. His free throw too. But anyway, he had 6 offensive boards. We just really didn't have an answer for what he was doing. Luckily bottled up Castro a little bit. Castro really, the funny thing about Castro, Zach, is he doesn't directly produce a whole lot on offense, but having him there changes their whole offense. Right. So everybody else is a system monster offensively. Everybody else is better because of his presence. And there was one where I think we got the shot clock down to 1 or 2 seconds left. and the only play they had was a really short lob alley-oop to Castro, and he finished it. So that was really frustrating because it felt like this in the Dayton game too, right, where you'd actually play 25 plus seconds of really good defense and then a bad break or a missed beat in the last few seconds of the possession, and all of a sudden they score. So yeah, definitely some frustration there with the offensive rebounding. But Zach, back to Avila. I mean, he was, I think, the star of the game for SLU. Aside from a few turnovers, I think that all came in the first half. He was pretty fantastic. 22 points, 7 of 9 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. Those were all in a row, as we said. Perfect from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks. And yeah, people said those 3-pointers were it.
I really like, this is what I think this team needs. This team needs an assertive Robbie Avila on offense to open everybody back up. We have already gotten to the point where the 3-pointers are the show, right?
Yeah.
Robbie was the decoy. Now Robbie's got to be the show to open up our 3-pointers again. I want to see more, and we saw more of it in this tournament. It's weird to say it was a tournament because we played 2 games. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyway, but I think we need more of Robbie backing players down, isolation, looking for that movement off the ball around the perimeter. I think we need more of Robbie going and forcing the issue, forcing the other team into foul trouble. I think that might have been something that could have been useful against Dayton, getting a Durkak, go ahead and get him into foul trouble if he's going to be your Achilles heel the whole night. So I want to see, and I'm not sitting here blaming Avila for losses or anything. I'm merely saying I think it improves our team when the guy who can do this stuff does this stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just off. Maybe I'm just ranting at this point. All I'm saying is Avila needs to be more a focal point of our attack on offense going forward.
Completely agree, especially after watching him in these 2 games. He just does. You're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Green also really good in this game, Zach. Definitely kind of disappeared for a while in the Dayton game, but here he had 19 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Just a really solid game from him all around.
Getting 2 steals from him is huge.
Yes. Yeah. They were both big ones too. I mean, I feel like I could say that about so many players.
Yeah.
Making big plays in this game when they needed to, making free throws when they needed to. Kellen Thames was
Speaking of 2 steals.
He was big
steals.
Yep. He only missed 1 free throw, 1 turnover. When Thames limits mistakes, plays good basketball, he's just so crucial, as he was in our comeback here. 14, 4, and 3 off the bench. And like you said, those 2 steals, he was great. I also like Deion Brown in this one. 9 and 7, did his Deion Brown thing, frustrated the hell out of George Washington in the second half. I think he kind of set the tone right out of halftime.
Yeah, he continues to be one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah,
on this team. Otieno, I was not impressed in this game. Something Tarzan, something Jane. He just didn't do much. He wasn't consequential on the boards. I thought he was really bad on the boards, man. We missed he just looked like he was getting overworked, outmanned, out just physicaled.
I thought his just defense was fine, but he could, it was the finishing the plays, right, which includes the rebound. You got to get the defensive rebound, and I think that was part of why his minutes were limited here. He couldn't come up with the ball.
Another player who was limited to minutes was McCautry, only 16.
Yeah, as good as he was in the Dayton game, he was kind of a shell of himself in this one, unfortunately.
And we said last week that we really just need an average, we just need McCautry to not impact the game negatively.
Yes.
We just need to be him. He just needs to play even.
I thought I remembered more turnovers out of him in this one, but he really only had one. But it was just in the first half, right? Like just not making good plays. He had a layup attempt that hit the bottom of the rim, and that was just at a point where you were just like, oh, we might be in real trouble today. So just not his game. Not his game, but he tends to bounce back after these, and he did against Dayton. Dunlap had 7 points on 2 of 3 3-point shooting. Both of his makes were very well timed and much needed, but I don't think the tournament overall was his best showing.
No, I didn't either. I thought maybe they could have gone. Again, I don't remember much of him from the Dayton game, but I felt like he could have done more. They could have gotten him involved more. I don't want to say he could have done more because that sounds like I'm being critical.
Mm-hmm.
There were reasons for concern, Pete. The offensive rebounding. There was, again, the disorganization, lack of energy in the first half. They let GW take almost 43 pointers.
Yeah.
And then the lackluster shooting, which I think would improve in that Dayton game in a lot of ways. But there were positive takeaways. Obviously, we talked about the free throw shooting.
Mm-hmm.
That was outstanding. Avila looked healthy in both games, I thought. So that was excellent. And the Billikens stepped up when they needed to and came away with the win, a win they will likely regret because now they are not playing in St. Louis this week.
Well, I mean, they're not on the 10 line, right? But I guess even if they had been a 10, there's no guarantee that's the one they would have been.
Pete, let's kick it around the A10. It's a little bit different this week, but it's around the A10 and it's presented by Two Men in a Garden. Pete, tell us about Two Men in a Garden.
Two Men in a Garden, Zach, just an hour ago as we record this. So on Sunday night, they posted congratulations to Robbie Avila and Kellen Thames and the entire team for the at-large St. Louis men's basketball bid. Best of luck in Buffalo on Thursday. SLU Billikens, proud to support the team and Midtown Mad Pod. That's us. There's a picture of the Two Men in a Garden, our buddy Joel over there, with Robbie in one picture and then with Kellen in the second. Really nice post.
Us in the third.
We're not as photogenic as Kellen or Robbie.
Well, speak for yourself.
Come on. Yeah, well, that's true. Anyway, Zach, they are great people. They support us. You should support them. They support SLU basketball, more importantly than all of that. But go out there, support them. 2minuteinagarden.com. Don't forget our code. MMP for free shipping to knock the $9.99 shipping off. I've gotten really good feedback from everybody who has bought their stuff, and I think you will love it too. 2minuteinagarden.com. They're local. They're SLU fans. They're great people. Go support them.
Yes, it's much like Carroll House. You deserve nice things.
That's right.
So go get Two Men in a Garden. Pete, we have all conference honors to talk about. Go ahead and run us down those, and then I'll hit us with some scheduling news.
Yeah, Zach. So the all conference teams were good to us this year. Robbie Avila was named Player of the Year and first team all conference. This is actually only the third time that SLU has had the conference Player of the Year.
That's crazy,
isn't it? You would have thought it would be more. Like never Bonner.
That's impressive mediocrity.
It is, but at the same time, it does show you like this team has played in some really, really good leagues over the years. Because when you think back to our best players, you're like, oh, there were always like guys who just were great in those leagues.
Yeah.
So future NBA players and whatnot. So Robbie Avila was Player of the Year, first team all conference, like I said. Jordair Jett in 2014, David Burns in 1981s were the others who were Player of the Year. Amari McCautry, Trey Green, Kellen Thames all made the third team all conference. Deion Brown made the all defensive team. I think it could have been him. It could have been Jones. It could have been McCautry. So that was really cool. I think all of those guys were great defenders. Ishan Sharma.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sharma made the all academic team. Schertz has raved about his intelligence on and off the court. So that's great to see him taking that Jimerson role. Zach, the overall awards were, I don't think there were a lot of surprises this year, to be honest. I think they kind of were more or less in line with expectations, right?
Uh, sure. If unless you want to get to the coach of the year situation.
Yeah,
Um,
and this is one where we both have our opinion, but
yeah.
I think it seemed like there was a real push from everybody around this league to reward Donahue at St.
And
Joe's.
I feel like he was my coach of the year.
He was yours. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
He was my coach of the year. I thought he deserved it for um the Jim Cruz Memorial Coach of the Year award. Dealing with a difficult situation and outperforming the league's expectations. I know that that's a little different than Jim Cruz now, but like Donahue had a really tough task. And then he kicked off the leading scorer.
Mhm.
That takes balls. And I
Yeah.
think they rewarded Steve Donahue's testicles.
And a couple weeks after he kicked off the leading scorer, they all of a sudden were playing like one of the best teams in the league. Like when we played them, everyone thought they were a train wreck. We beat them by what, 29?
And we beat him without uh
It was right after Deuce Jones
yeah.
got kicked off.
Yeah.
And so everybody thought, okay, they kicked off Deuce Jones, they're a train wreck. And we did think it was kind of a Jim Cruz situation, right? Like an older coach, arguably a retread who's the assistant, the associate head coach, takes over the program, gets the contract, and then, looks like the game has passed him by, gets rid of his best player, and then completely turns the team around after a really bad first game against SLU and gets the 3 seed in the league. I mean, I gotta give him credit. It was a fantastic job relative to expectations, both coming into the season and mid-season as the A10 season was starting up.
Yeah.
So, whole body of work, if you're taking, November 1st all the way through to the end of the year, I think you got to say Josh Schertz was it. But if you're looking at the A10 season and people want to call it Donahue, I'm fine with that.
If you would have told me that the situation, the coaching situation at St. Joe's was going to be in a better spot than St. Bonaventure at the beginning of this year, would you have told me I was crazy?
I think I absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point.
No, I think Steve Donahue deserved it. I thought that maybe a Billiken could have slotted in on that second team. All defensive team. I thought could have used some Kellen Thames. Sixth man of the year could have been a Kellen Thames situation.
Yeah. Well, six man, I will say
I could have give Kellen Thames most improved.
Yeah, but that okay, so that was kind of a loaded category because he was bumped by Terrence Hill from VCU in both of those categories. Because Hill, for whatever reason, was their sixth man. He came off the bench and he was a first team all conference player, right? So Hill was like averaging like 3 points a game last season. And then he's a first team all conference player this season, despite returning to VCU, having I guess just under the new coach, new system, he was thriving.
Most improved, Trey Green.
So he gets most improved, and I mean I think Hill was a no-brainer for both of them. But I will say the six-man category was loaded. You mentioned Kellen Thames, who's a third-team all-conference player, would totally make sense as sixth man of the year. But you've got Hill, you had Roberts Blooms at Davidson, who came off the bench. Like it was a weird year for really productive players who for whatever reason just didn't start for their teams. Which I thought was just kind of a fascinating dynamic in the league this year. And then there were other dynamics, like I thought the rookie class was a little bit weaker than usual. You had Nick Lewis from VCU's a good player. Arga Bright, the kid from Richmond's a good player.
Love that name.
those were the two who were going to be. It was between them, right, for the Rookie of the Year. Argerbright was my choice, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who won it. But yeah, Nick Lewis was the one who won it. But Argerbright was the one that I thought was slightly better. Anyway, I didn't. You got to there were 5 guys who were the most productive freshmen, but I didn't think it was the strongest freshman class by any means. So it's interesting what categories kind of rise and fall from year to year and give you some tough choices. So good year for SLU. I think it's the first year since 2014 that we've had this many guys honored. And it's the first year since 2014 that we've had the Conference Player of the Year. So really good year. I just wish we had the regular season title outright.
We have the regular season title outright. I disagree. I disavow the rules.
I just wish we didn't have the same record as them. I'll put it that way.
We need to talk about St. Bonaventure.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we need to talk about St. Bonaventure, but if St. Bonaventure continues to allow Adrian Wojciechowski to be at the helm of that program as a general manager above a head coach, they are going to face plant.
Yeah, it's a model you see in pro sports sometimes.
Makes zero sense.
The strong GM and the weak head coach. I just don't. There's not a lot of record of success with it though so far.
Here's my question: all the Bonaventure fans that are behind it are talking about him like Woj is this great. He has all these connections. He's got all these friends.
Mm-hmm.
Does he? And if he does, in what capacity that directly affects college basketball? He has spent his entire career. He is not a basketball player. He's not a basketball coach. He's a basketball fan who is also a journalist. And he made his career basically just breaking news for ESPN as a pseudo insider. I don't even know. Like, it's not even inside information. It's just the teams leaking it officially. Like, it's ridiculous. So what, they talk about these connections and running a program. What program has Woj run, first of all? Second of all, what connections does he have outside of the NBA that he's been covering? Like, does he have any connections with high school basketball? Does he have any connections with college basketball? Does he have any connections with AAU basketball? Does he have any connection with CYC basketball? No. Am I like, what do you like? And you're like, they're going to pay a coach less? This doesn't work when you're not paying the coach anything to begin with. Like, Mark Schmidt can't be making that much money. Like, here at St. Louis, when you're paying $4 million a year for Travis Ford, you can afford to find an up-and-coming coach, hotshot coach, for less and pay more in NIL. But it just doesn't, like, there's not a big enough pie to go around.
Yeah, so a couple things there. I think Ford was making about 2.5, but point taken. I think Schmidt is making about 1.5, and they want to be under 1 million for the new head coach.
That's not going to happen.
So that they can commit more resources to NIL. Which, look, if you have a hard dollar cap on what you can spend on the whole program, and that's how you want to prioritize it, fine. But I think your point is important in that, being the guy who is guaranteeing that ESPN can be the first to report basketball transactions does not translate to running a college basketball program. And so I think your whole point that you were making before is correct. It's the phone contact list, the Rolodex, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really translate to this skill set, to running a successful program, which Mark Schmidt, by the way, had mostly done before Woj showed up.
Yes. What the fuck? That's the dumbest part. That's the dumbest part.
He's their winningest coach. He was there for 19 years, and I've been to St. Bonaventure. It was founded by what are they, Franciscans?
Franciscans.
Yeah, so priests in brown robes to be out in the snowy hills of Western New York in the middle of nowhere. It's beautiful. It's serene, and that's the point. To run a successful Division I program out of there is not easy. It is not easy. And if you're gonna nickel and dime on the next coach, I don't know.
Nobody wants to coach in Siberia for $750,000 a year, and that trickles down to your assistants.
Well, and
what the fuck? What are we doing?
That's right. Because the life of an assistant coach is really hard. You're moving every few years. It's really, really hard to have a spouse, a family in that role. It really is. And if you have to tell, honey, I am going to.
We're going to go live in the dorms in Western New York
for a modest salary. Relative close to what I make now to be an assistant wherever. Can we go live in St. Bonaventure, New York, which is by nothing? It's hard to get in and out of.
There's a Native American casino though.
30 minutes away. Even that's not like down the street. It's a half hour away. It is really a remote place. And you're right. Yeah, I think it's an even harder sell for assistants than it is for the head coach.
It's like what the people that talk about like how Mark Schmidt isn't suited to be a basketball coach in this era. It's a different world. What has Woj done to give you the idea that Woj knows any better? Like,
yeah, the early returns are not good.
It's different. There's money involved, but like there are assistant coaches for that purpose. Yeah. Like Woj, you should be the money man. You should be the guy that gets people invested. You are a salesman, not to the children and that they're trying to recruit to go to college to play there. You are a salesman to the 40 to 80-year-old donors that like in the NBA that are around the NBA to help funnel. Like, what are people lining up to give Woj money? Like, I don't. Why do you bring him? What is he doing?
Yeah.
Is he bringing in donations? Like, the only thing that I can imagine that Woj would bring in donations is the initial, we're getting serious, I guess, about this new era. Like, you don't need to fire Mark. Mark Schmidt should still be there. Woj should not be there. Woj is going to tank the Bonaventure Bonnies program.
It's going to be really interesting to watch. They have to get this hire right. They have to hit a home run.
And it's a blueprint that nobody else is doing. Like, this is like, why are you
advertising the fact that you're cutting the salary?
It's such a major shift in how to run a basketball program led by somebody who has never led a basketball program professionally or otherwise. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to run it like a professional basketball program. Let's hire Adrian Woj. For what reason? Hire anybody else, any of your alumni, any of them. Any of the basketball alumni that are in basketball, that are working professionally in basketball, any of them, other than Adrian Wojnarowski.
The way that this would work, because this will be an attractive job based on the league. 750 is better money than you're making in D2 or at the lowest levels of D1. Let me finish my point, Zach. The one challenge that's going to make this less attractive is the fact that you are the second in command after Woj. And that's only going to work if it's somebody who's like his guy, right? And reportedly the one that, because we talked about this a little last week, the guy from Division Two would be the one that makes the most sense there. If you're Woj's guy, if you're coming up to prove yourself at the D1 level, if you're on the same page in terms of the vision, it could work. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to go to a program where I have someone else looking over my shoulder, telling me who I'm supposed to recruit, telling me.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Woj was coming in here. The whole thing was like, oh, he's gonna be the business guy behind the scenes. He's not gonna handle. He's just gonna negotiate the contracts and all or whatever he's gonna do. That literally just put it. He's like the Mr. Beast of candy bar. He's like the Beast candy bar of college basketball administrators. Like he just puts his name on it and he's like, there it is. Like it's outrageous. He does not need to be making basketball decisions up there.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope that was a little fun rant for everybody. Let's talk scheduling news out of the Atlantic 10. A parting gift from Bernie. The Billikens will play the Bulls of South Florida. By the way, shout out the South Florida fan who used to go to the women's basketball games. He used to wear the horn hat. Do you remember that? Remember that guy?
I do, actually. That's
he kind of looked like Jason Lee in he kind of dressed like Jason Lee in Dogma. Azrael. Right. But with a horn hat, not like real horns under his hat.
Yeah.
You remember that guy?
I do remember. It's been a long time. I think
he was a doctor around town. I don't know how old that guy was. I'm trying to think because I was young when that guy. He was around up until he was around through the gray seasons, and then I think when they moved to Chaffetz, I haven't seen him.
Gotcha. I been a long time.
But he was like a South Florida fan and then just stuck around following the women. Like he had just became a women's basketball fan.
I do vaguely remember that.
They'll play South Florida Sunday the 29th. It'll be the American and Atlantic 10 Athletic Conference challenge of some sort. Dayton will play Memphis. The doubleheader will be at a neutral site. Sounds like it'll be Columbus or Indianapolis. Pete, pick which one you'd rather. Not distance aside, which one would you rather it be in?
Probably. Okay, so city where I want to go hang out for a weekend, Columbus. Legit, but I have more friends in Indianapolis that I can like potentially go see. The tricky part here is it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and I normally spend the Thanksgiving week in St. Louis.
Oh no!
So
are we gonna drive up?
That's the thing. I would normally come back to Cincinnati on Saturday morning, right? So I would be back home and then going to either one. And from Cincinnati, they're both 100 miles, so it doesn't matter. Louisville, Indianapolis, Columbus, they're all 100 miles from Cincinnati, like exactly. So it doesn't matter to me which one it's in distance-wise. It's the same. It's an hour and a half drive. So I don't know. Either one's fine. I don't care.
It's great for us, bad for South Florida. South Florida fans. That's a tough trip.
I wouldn't. I don't know which. I mean, Dayton would prefer Columbus. SLU would prefer Indianapolis. That's a little. That's
do you
closer.
think this changes any Thanksgiving plans for this team? Like whether they play in a Thanksgiving tournament?
I mean, I would. I don't know if they will be. I hear an MTE is in the works, but I don't know. I mean, it's not finalized yet.
No, I know, but
I don't know when
it's a quick turnaround. It's a quick turnaround. If you did like, Thursday and Friday like this year, then you got a game on Sunday in Indianapolis.
So they would probably play in one of the MTEs that's the week before Thanksgiving. Yeah, right.
No feast week for the Bills.
Right. Well, like they'll play in an MTE. They'll play a cupcake at home on like Tuesday night, and then they'll play this game on Sunday, would be my guess. Pete,
let's head over to the Diamond Billikens. First, we'll talk baseball. This week, they split four. They split four of the games. However, they picked up 2 Atlantic 10 wins against Dayton here in St. Louis. It started out rough, though, against Illinois State.
Yeah, it did. On Tuesday the 10th, they lost 8-5 after the Redbirds jumped out to a 5-0 lead. SLU actually rallied twice, came within a run, but came up just short. Riley Ifrig led SLU with 3 hits. 5 different Billikens scored, and their RBIs came from 5 different players as well. Caden Earring started on the mound and gave up 3 home runs for the loss. 5 different relievers finished out the game, one of those classic Tuesday staff games. And then the weekend, Zach, they won 2 out of 3 against Dayton at home, which is great. We needed to beat Dayton in something, right, this weekend. 8-3 was the win on Friday the 13th. SLU's bats came alive, and Ben Cherico pitched 7 shutout innings for the win. Drew Kleinheider led the Bills with 4 hits. 6 different Bills scored. 6 guys had at least 1 RBI. Great team effort. Hank Gomrick hit a solo shot. And in game 1 on Saturday the 14th, doubleheader, they beat Dayton 9-1. They used a 5-run second inning that started with a 2-run triple from Ian Blazer to take a commanding lead. Dayton picked up 1 run in the 7th, but SLU answered with 3 more insurance runs. Ty Holman threw 6 scoreless innings for the win. Unfortunately, it swung in game 2 of the doubleheader. Tough day on the mound for most of the 7 Billikens who pitched in this one, which was a 12-2 loss, but SLU still came away with the series win. They just weren't able to capitalize much on 12 hits, 4 of which came from Blazer again. So his hitting's really picked up.
Oh my God, that's like 4 straight hit or 5. Like, did he go 4 for 4 in this one? He had to have, right?
4 for 5. 4 for 5.
4 for 5. So like, you know, and he had that 2-run triple in game 1 or game 2. So big weekend.
They just weren't stringing hits together in this game.
Big weekend for Blazer.
Yeah, really good stuff. They head up to the frozen tundra of St. Bonaventure for a 3-game series starting on Friday, the 20th, Zach. And it looks like it was a pretty successful start overall for the softball Billikens.
I would have said the soft Billikens. Yeah, that's terrible. It's a series win, but it started off rough with a 13-1 loss against St. Joe's on Friday the 13th. It looked like it would be close after the first inning. It was 2-1. The Hawks blew it open with 5 runs in the second, and the Billikens had no answer from there. Both pitchers struggled in this one. 2-1 win against St. Joe's in game 2, the doubleheader on Friday. Hawks took a 1-run lead into the top of the 6th, but Marshmallow answered with a solo shot in the bottom of the inning, followed by a sacrifice fly from Ava Wombles. That's a great name. To give SLU the lead and the eventual win. Anna Christ pitched all 7 innings for the win. A 5-0 win to close out the series versus St. Joe's on Saturday the 14th. Riley Nelson responded to her tough outing on Friday with a 1-hit gem on Saturday. Carson Janney powered the offense with 3 hits and 4 RBIs, including a 3-run homer in the 6th. They'll host SIUE for a midweek game on Wednesday, the 18th, before heading up to take on the Ramblers in Chicago for a weekend series. Pete, rackets and balls, man, rackets and balls.
Yeah, women's tennis split this weekend, 4-3 win against Bradley on Friday the 13th after they won the doubles points. SLU got singles victories out of Emerson White, Madison Hill, and Naima Luthra to pull out the overall win. And then on Saturday the 14th, they lost 4-2 to Omaha. White won at number 1 singles. She's been excellent this season, by the way. I can't even think of her losing more than like 1 or 2. And Aaron Walker won at number 6, but Omaha got 3 other singles wins and the doubles point, unfortunately. Next up, they head to Dayton to take on the Wildcats and Dayton over the weekend. Same for men's tennis. They're going to go to Davidson for both Davidson and Dayton on March 21st, 22nd. So both teams will be down in North Carolina this weekend, Zach.
It's interesting to look at the tennis scores. I really don't know what to make of any of it at all. It's just funny. That's going to do it for us.
I think that's it.
All right. Hey, NCAA tournament, 8:45 Thursday, March 19th, 18th.
No, it would be at least the 19th.
Not the 19th.
I should know this, right?
Oh no, it's all breaking down late.
It's the 19th.
Yes, Thursday the 19th, 8:45 p.m. on CBS proper. Pete, roll Bills.
Roll Bills.